darlings, welcome to another roaring episode of this groundbreaking show. I am so excited to share with you today's guests that actually they're very interesting. You don't really need me at all. But before I do that, I just want to backtrack and talk a little bit about something that happened to me a few weeks ago. A lovely, lovely lady came rushing across the restaurant where I was, and she went, "Darling," and I said, "Hello," and she said, "I saw your episode and I love what you're doing, and I really wanted to just say that, and I appreciate it." So if you're watching, you know who I'm talking about. But she made a very good point, and she said, "You know, Daniel, you talk about people getting jobs, employability, particularly on the last episode, and helping people get jobs and helping people settle, but did you ever get a job?" And I thought, oh, actually, I'm glad you asked that, because the reality is that as much as we talk about the challenges and the barriers to employment for newcomers, I'm in the same boat. And the concept of this show and the magazine as well was really about kind of just demonstrating some of those issues. So, you know, I'm still looking. I'm between employment. That's what I say. I'm in between employment. So viewers, you know, if you're looking, you know, I'm open to offers. I make a mean cup of tea. I'm fluent with a photocopier. Yeah, I'm wonderful. I have administrative experience. I'm the ultimate right-hand man. So if you're looking, give us a call. Now, today's show. When I first came here, it was just over 4 years ago, I came across a publication which I have to say I was really impressed with the quality and with the content. It made me think, wow, if Hamilton's producing this type of publication, this type of magazine of this high standard, with all of these exciting things going on here, this is definitely somewhere where I want to stay. The name of the publication is called Hamilton Magazine. And I've been a fan of it. I've been an avid reader of it when it comes out every quarter. It is every quarter, isn't it?
Every couple of months.
Every couple of months. I was close. But then a couple of years later, I found out that the editor is also a fellow Brit. He's from England, aren't you?
I am.
Marc Skulnick from Southend.
Sunny Southend, isn't it?
Sunny Southend.
So.
Do you know what's funny about Southend is we used to go, my grandparents used to take me there on a bank holiday, and we used to get the train from Fenchurch Street, the London, Tilbury and Southend line, the rubbish. Oh, it was rubbish. The misery line, we used to call it. And we used to go down there, and I found out that that you're a fellow Brit. We met at a little drinky-doos thing, a little stand-up cocktail party, little things on sticks that were being served, and yeah, I had to have you on the show.
Well, thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here, as they say.
You know, I want to hear about your journey. I want to hear about your origins.
My origins? Yeah, you pretty much summed it up.
Sum it up again.
Well, sum it up. Born in England, and then when I was about, I don't know, 4 or 5, we moved from Southend to Toronto. Apparently my dad had a choice between Perth, Australia and Toronto. And my mum's sister, my aunt, had moved out a couple of years previous and raved about the land of opportunity. And so they chose Toronto over Australia, and every time it's, you know, minus 25 and there's 8 foot of snow, I always say, I guess, you know, Aunt Liz didn't mention the November to April kind of thing. But no, that's how we ended up there, and that's pretty much. But
you went back to England.
I did.
As an adult, yeah.
Yeah. From 2001, sort of in the mid-90s, I was a product developer for Club Monaco. So I did men's accessories, and realized the fashion industry wasn't really something I enjoyed. So after about 5 years, I decided to go back to journalism school. Graduated after 2 years, and then decided to sort of put my resume out. So my girlfriend at the time, who became my wife, she says, "Well, why don't you send your resume out to..." I wasn't getting many nibbles, and so she said, "Well, why don't you send it out to England, like some newspapers and magazines in London?" So I actually got more interest from newspapers and magazines in England than I did from Toronto. And so being British and being allowed to move back easily, I thought, right, let's do it. So we moved back for a couple of years, from 01 to 03, and I was a feature writer, sub-editor for a newspaper in Basildon.
In Basildon?
The metropolis.
People are going to be thinking, what is Basildon? These are lovely places. These are places that these are places that you know, if you're from the southeast of England, you know it very well. Dagenham Market,
yeah.
Dargenham.
Did my stag there, my stint there at Dagenham, and yeah, no, it's Basildon is a smaller city outside of London, and I had a daily newspaper, and so I ended up there, and I loved it. But they used to call me Canada in the newsroom. Like, "Oi, Canada!" And everybody said, "Well, what are you doing in England? Why? What would possess you to move from Canada to England?" And
it was the work.
It was. And the funny thing is, though, after living in England for a couple of years, I could understand why my mum and dad left England to come to Canada, just in terms of the quality of life and the opportunities. And
do you think it was good for you, because you came here originally as a child, but then you went back as an adult? Do you think it was good for you to be able to see and make your own decisions as an adult where you wanted to live?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a really good point, because I think...
Of course it is, I asked you.
Sorry. You have a greater understanding of why, like I said, why my parents did what they did. You know, England's lovely, and I mean, London's London, but it's expensive, and it's, you know, there's certain things that say, flies.
There are. We had this last time.
So...
Everyone wants to get on my show.
So you just realise that, that, you know what, after 2 years, we were ready to come home, and so it just reinforced that Canada was my home, and that I wanted to continue to build a life in Canada as opposed to England. Well, when we left in 2001, my mum was really upset. She's like, "Oh, you're never going to come back," because ironically, when my mum and dad moved from England to Toronto, it was only going to be for a couple of years. And so it was almost like deja vu, because I said to my mum, "Oh, it'll only be for a couple of years and then we'll come back." And so in her mind, we were going to, you know. But we did.
Then you choose to come back to Canada.
Yes.
You go to Toronto,
Yes.
which you go to the most major city. I think if people go to England, they'll go to London or Manchester, because that's the most known cities. But at some point, you then decided to come to Hamilton. So what was the decision behind that?
Living in Toronto, we lived in a condo, and we thought, you know what, let's see if the condo lifestyle, you know, in a 44-story building, surrounded by other 44-story buildings, and having all those people, you know, kind of living, let's see if we like that, and if we do, then we'll buy a condo. And I absolutely hated it. And so we realized that that the condo lifestyle wasn't for us, so we actually moved and bought a townhouse in Markham, ironically enough. And I thought, oh yeah, you know what, we'll find a little house out in the suburbs, it'll be great, and I absolutely hated it. So then we said, all right, we're moving back to Toronto, let's find a house. And so that was the impetus for, we realized we weren't suburban folk, we were downtown, you know, and so we thought, let's see if we can buy a house. And so, I mean, as you know, even 8 years ago, Toronto, the housing prices were ridiculous. So we were looking at, you know, $600,000 dumps or you know, $650,000 shoe boxes. And so I remember saying to my estate agent, well, let's just kind of start looking a bit west. And she's like, west? I said, well, she's like, Mississauga? And I'm like, no. She's like, Oakville? I'm like, no. I'm like, Hamilton. And it was like one of those things from Fred Flintstone. I was like, yeah, Hamilton, you know. And
what year was this?
This was 2008.
So what year did you start as the editor with... I'm going to hold it up. Look, I'm going to promote you. No worries. Look at this. When did you become the editor of these fine publications?
January 2012. So we moved to Hamilton in 2009. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember going on MLS and saying to my wife, I was one of those Torontonians, like, I'm not moving to Hamilton.
Yeah.
You know? My wife's sister lived in Hamilton. We'd go to Hamilton, and I liked the feel of it and the grittiness and the urban flavor. But I just, you know, to me it was Hamilton.
Yeah.
And so I remember exactly the moment we were sitting in our living room, and I said, well, go on to MLS and just put it in Hamilton for a laugh. And I almost fell off my chair when you saw it.
You know, I do want to ask you, though, that, I mean, being the editor of Ham Mag and Biz Mag, you know, you have a unique perspective on what's going on in the city from, you know, the social aspect, the hospitality aspect, the business aspect, the city council, you know, every aspect, because that's your job, right? I mean, just in a few words, what do you think is the current state of the city, and where do you think it's going?
Well, I tell you, I always say it's a great time to be Hamilton Magazine, because I think, you know, Hamilton Magazine celebrates the best of the city. and it has done so. Next year will be our 40th anniversary, so it's not a new publication.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's really reflecting the food and arts and the fashion and the culture.
I think that, I'm going to be honest with you, I think that this is actually an incredible representation of the city, and if this was one of the reasons why I wanted to stick around, and I do thank you for that, because you know, when you do this work, you don't always realise how it's resonating, and it resonated with me.
Yeah.
I know it resonates with so many people. Thank you so much, Mark. Honestly, I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad our paths
Finally
crossed.
happened, didn't it? Yeah, no, it was.
I've been waiting a long time for this interview.
Thank you, my friend.
You know. All right, mate. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Stay with us. We're going to come back with another wonderful guest. Don't go anywhere. Look at this lovely magazine. And just to think you were nervous.
If you are ready to play, we are ready to pay. Kiwanis TV Bingo is coming your way. Pick up those $3 bingo cards at any one of almost 200 vendors around the Hamilton community. Tune into Cable 14 on Monday nights at 7 p.m. and win cash. Over $150,000 up for grabs this season. You won't want to miss it. Break a dabber.
Welcome back, lovely viewers. I would like to introduce to you someone who has never been on Cable 14.
Never.
And I think we're gonna install a little splinter in you, darling.
Ooh.
We are. Joan Hodge, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be here with me. So we met about a year ago. I went into the Meridian Credit Union branch in Jackson Square Mall. And you were the person that I met, and I talked about some of the things I wanted to do, and surprisingly you didn't call security and ask them to remove this lunatic that was demanding all of these things. So tell us a little bit about where you're from and what brought you to Hamilton, because you are a recent settler.
I am. My journey is very short. I came from the Niagara region and I moved here back in September. Reason being is I'm a senior small business advisor for Meridian Credit Union, and I was traveling back and forth, which isn't a long drive. However, I wasn't in my market. I wasn't living in my market. As I would come to Hamilton each day, I could feel something happening, and I just wanted to be part of it. So I'm right in the thick of things now because I'm right downtown and loving every part of it. The feel of the city, it just kind of gets underneath your skin, and it's a fun place to be.
So what were some of your first impressions once you had moved in and once you were no longer doing the drive back and forwards to Niagara?
Well, it allowed me to kind of relax and to enjoy the city. Saturday mornings I'd get up and walk down to the market, which I've never had before, and that's a cool thing to do. You know, and just even being able to walk to Lock Street. I'm about a block from Lock Street now, so to kind of go into all the different establishments there and kind of get to know them.
Your Twitter is fantastic.
I love it.
Twitter, we call it on
Everywhere
the
I go, I tweet.
You know,
I'm a tweeter.
we know where you are.
Yeah, I
you
know.
should do it like an hour afterwards.
Well,
to come
because
and
I
find
feel
you.
it's my responsibility as a small business advisor to promote local businesses, to promote Hamilton, because I'm now a proud Hamiltonian, and the Try Hamilton experience, people should really come and try it.
Now, you were telling me, we had an interesting conversation about your New Year's Eve.
Yeah, my friend from Toronto came down, you know, and people have sometimes a bad misconception of Hamilton. Put that right out front, because, you know.
But what are you doing to quash that?
Well,
in your own way?
Allowing people to experience it and promoting the positive rather than, you know, promoting what people may think of it. She came down on New Year's Eve and we walked downtown, and I took her downtown James Street, and there's beautiful shops there. There's gorgeous shops, and of course at Christmas time the windows were awesome. And, you know, we ended up in different little places having drinks here and there. And then we ended up in this nice little place, a taco place, downtown, a real kind of cool place. And she was shocked. She was shocked. A couple of days afterwards, she phoned up. She goes, you know, it's not much of a stretch for me to move there. Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah.
You see, that's the interesting thing about the experience, whether you're from Niagara or Nigeria. I just picked that up out of the sky. But you know what's interesting, and I think that's what this show is about personal lived experiences of and us actually promoting our own city and you know, sharing those positive experiences. So I'm really glad that you're doing that, and you're also, you know, learning about the city at the same time, and you're capturing it on your little social media.
One of the reasons why I'm proud to be a Meridian employee also is because they're very embedded in the community. They do a lot of community events. They promote a lot of Hamiltonian things to do. Try Hamilton.
So let's talk about your work.
Yes.
I'm going to jump in because you are someone who, if someone wants to set up a small business account, you're the first person that they connect with. So tell us a little bit, why do you think that professionals and entrepreneurs and young people are looking to set up their business in Hamilton?
Because of the entrepreneurial spirit that's here. I believe that there's a lot of young people moving from other areas to come in. They seem to be promoting a lot of the arts now, which I like. Before they weren't doing that, so now there seems to be more of that type of person coming in. Restaurants, we're becoming a foodie place. Like, it's a great place to be if you want to kind of explore your food experience. And I've been a part of a lot of restaurant entrepreneurs opening up, and it's an awesome thing to be part of that, you know, from start to finish. It's
so what's some of the resources that you can recommend, or that you guys offer, whether it's to newcomers to the city or to set up a business, or people that are born and raised here that want to set up something?
The biggest part with us, with Meridian, is the advice part. You know, we begin from start to finish, and we like to be part of your business. We also have a lot of interesting tools on the website, as in a business plan template, which is not a lot of people can set up a business plan. It's a hard thing to do, but this template makes it very, very easy to do so. So, you know, for someone most of the entrepreneurs are not number people. They just want to get in and get their hands dirty and do what they love doing. And that part of it is hard to do. So we try and make that easier for them to do with the advice piece. And
do you think that there are more opportunities to do that than where you were from in Niagara, and looking at some of the resources that might have been available there? Or do you think Hamilton's the place that this can happen?
Hamilton is happening. It really is happening. And to take the words out of your mouth, it really is happening. There's lots of young people coming in and making it happen. There's lots of opportunity for businesses to open up. It's just becoming a mecca of people doing things.
And it's great that there are people like you, and I'm going to plug Meridian, but you know, I think, and other financial institutions, to be fair, but you know, having someone who can guide you along that way and be that kind of person that can sometimes pull you back and say, you need to look at this again. And but I'm thrilled that you actually decided to not only work in Hamilton, but you've also decided to live here. And from the sounds of it, and looking at your Twitter, you're going to have your followers go up like that you're looking to play here as well. And I think that's a great representation and a great promotion of you and what you're doing, and why you choose it. Thank you, Joan.
You're welcome.
I appreciate this. It wasn't painless, was it?
Not at all.
I made it fun.
Thanks.
Thank you, darling. And if you want to connect with Joan, you can find her on her little Twitter, and you can go to the Meridian branch and look for her, and we'll be back after the break with somebody else. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting to the fun bits.
And that is how you close a deal.
Well, it's getting late, huh? Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, I'll call you a cab. No need. I'm driving. Thanks again.
Drinking and driving should never be the elephant in the room. Share your responsible hosting tips at deflatetheelephant.com. A message from the LCBO.
Welcome back for part 3. I'm very excited to introduce to you Aline, who I have actually never met. This is the first time, and one of the great things about doing this show is I get to meet people who just inspire me and amaze me, and you're one of them. Now, I actually saw an article of your business in Biz magazine, and someone's taken my copy away. It was just sitting here, that Marc edits. So let's talk about where you're from and what brought you to Canada.
Well, I'm born in Romania. I was born there in communist era, and growing up through a country with a little bit of not much freedom. And in 1989 we had the revolution there against the Communist Party, and things changed, but unfortunately not for the best for my country. It was become a period of a lot of corruption and anarchy, if you wish. And then I finished university, and I looked around. I want to emigrate. I want to go to a place where I can raise a family, and Canada was the best bet at the time. I always loved about Canada that it's a country where every race, political views, religions are looked at equal. We not the prejudice here it's not as in other parts of the world, in other countries, and I loved the idea, and that's how I ended up in Hamilton.
What year did you come to Canada?
I moved to Canada in 2000, so I've been here for 17 years in Hamilton. I lived most of my adult life here in the city, and my son is born here. He's 15, and he's a little Canadian boy, and this is my home.
Yeah, that's so
It's
wonderful.
been for 17 years.
So did you come straight to Hamilton when you arrived?
Yes, I did come straight to Hamilton. When you're a new immigrant, you don't. My ex-wife's family was from Hamilton, so they that's how we end up here. But it was not an easy journey in the beginning, because I had to learn the language, and I had to adapt to the new culture. It was a bit of a culture shock, and but one thing that my sport gave me, I fought a lot of fights in the ring, and it gave me strength, and it gave me the spirit of never giving up. Even in the beginning, my parents would say, come home, because it would be easier for me at the time. I never want to choose the easy way, because I believe I'm in a great country and a great democracy, and with great people all around. I'm blessed to be here, and I took my journey, and I fought hard for what I love. I believe in what I do. And
so you've talked about fighting. I'm not saying anything to you, because I won't win. I'm not saying a word. I'm going to be nice to you. Tell us about your business. It's based in Stoney Creek, right?
Yes, I have a gym in Stoney Creek. When I first moved here, I had all kinds of jobs until like I said, I learned English, and I learned my way around. But then in 2004, I started training people, and I started to growing my own business, and I have my own business for a while now. And beside that, I work for Ultimate Fighting Championship, which is one of the biggest fight leagues in the world, the biggest by far, actually. And so I'm keeping busy. The community here embraced me. I'm very happy, and I'm very blessed again to be here. And I meet a lot of people from the community, like you just mentioned, Marc from the Hamilton magazine, Harmony from here, from the studios. Again, I'm very blessed to be here. It's a pleasure for me. So.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about what the gym offers, because you have an event coming up on April 9th. But when somebody comes to your gym, what is it that they're expecting, and what can they gain from being there?
We have all walks of life in my gym. We have kids that want to learn discipline, and we have a lot of female members that want to get in shape physically. And we have a lot of gentlemen that just want to learn to defend themselves. And we also have professional fighters, and we have have some great success in the area for the last 17 years I've been here. Train a lot of kids from the community here that started from zero and become world champions in our sport. And that's
And this is all based here. I mean, this is all based here, and this is the work that you're doing, which is incredible.
It makes me very happy that my sport and what I love so much takes other kids off the street and give them something positive to do with their life. And I think this is one of the greatest things that our sport do for the community. you know, because some kids are going to have that extra energy, and they have those alpha male genes in them, then they're looking for something. The sport, our sport, my sport, is going to keep them involved in something positive.
We're going to put your website details up so that people can find you. I just want to thank you for, you know, coming in and, you know, accepting my email.
It's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure. It's great fun. And I'm always happy to be here.
We're going to have you back, because we could talk for hours. Honestly, thank you so much.
Problem.
And this has been a great show. You know, actually, the topic has been entrepreneurialism and how people come to Hamilton, want to stay here, want to settle, and do it for themselves. And it really, I think, shows the determination of people and the true spirit and the enthusiasm for people wanting to stay and wanting to contribute to the community. And I thank all of my guests for today. I thank all of my Cable 14 darlings, as always, and my lovely viewers. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care of yourselves. Good luck to you. I'll see you around the community. Come and say hello to me. I quite like it.